soon as we left the Route Commander's house, it became obvious straight away that the morning sun was going to be a bit of an issue. And with the Route Commander not having his sunglasses on his head where they should be, but inside his top box, that was our first stop for the morning, to put his glasses back where they should be. From there, he was onto the Corkscrew, which is a great little road on these adventure bikes, but I came down here a few weeks ago on my ZH2 and it's just way too tight to have any sort of fun on a machine as big as that. Coming off the Corkscrew, we find ourselves on Gorge Road. Gorge Road is a favourite road for the sports bike lads, and you can easily see why. However, it does have its downsides, as it's also a favourite spot for cyclists and our friends with the covert speed cameras. With the bitumen now behind us, we hit the first dirt roads for the morning. This would just set us up nicely with these nice steady flowing turns and things until we got to some of the more gnarly stuff a bit later on, where we'd encounter some sand and rocky sections. Doesn't look too bad on the camera footage, but in reality, along here with the low sun in my eyes and the dust that the Route Commander was throwing up, it was actually quite difficult to see where we were going. It wasn't too bad in the general direction. You couldn't really see what was straight in front of you, i.e. any potholes or ruts or rocks or anything like that. It was actually quite difficult. most part, the little CF motor does a great job at keeping up with the boys on most of the terrain that we go on. It just finds itself a little bit lacking when we get to the straight bits and the boys decide to stretch the legs a little bit. You'll hear me revving the gonads off the CF motor, just trying to keep up with them. Of all the rides that we do, this is probably one of my favourite sections. It's fast and it's flowing. but the only downside is in places it's fairly rocky and there's a few washouts, so it gives the suspension a real workout. And on more than one occasion the camera starts flopping around, even as we found out later on in the ride today, breaks out of its mount and the camera ends up bouncing down the road. And that's why today's footage is being cut short before the end of the ride. We still had probably an hour and a half to go. Camera doesn't really do this descent justice at all, because it's actually quite steep and very loose in places. After a breakfast stop at Mannum for a cup of coffee and a nice bacon and egg roll, it was time to turn around and head for home. On the next section there were a few corrugations and lumps and bumps, and that's when the GoPro decided no more and threw itself down the road for the third time that day.